The morning rush was in full swing at Hartwell Industries, a towering glass and steel building that seemed to pierce the clouds. Inside, the air smelled faintly of coffee, printer ink, and ambition. Employees moved briskly through the halls, clutching tablets and files, their shoes tapping rhythmically on the polished marble floor. Among them, unnoticed by most, was Daniel, the night shift cleaner who often stayed a little later than he was paid to. He was a tall, quiet man in his early 30s with deep-set eyes and a look of perpetual fatigue that came from sleepless nights and double shifts. His worn uniform hung loosely on him, and his hands were rough from years of scrubbing, sweeping, and wiping surfaces others dirtied without thought. But behind his tired smile was a gentle soul, and a story few could imagine. As Daniel pushed his cleaning cart into the CEO's office, he glanced around nervously. The office was like something out of a magazine, minimalist, elegant, and intimidating. A vast oak desk stood by the window, overlooking the city skyline. The laptop on it was sleek and silver, and beside it sat a half-finished cup of black coffee, still steaming. Daniel always cleaned this office with extra care. It belonged to Victoria Hartwell, the CEO of the company, known for her brilliance, ruthlessness, and icy demeanor. Her employees whispered about her in the break rooms, how she'd built the company from scratch after her father's death, how she never smiled, and how she fired anyone who made even the smallest mistake. For Daniel, this office was sacred ground. He moved quietly, spraying cleaner on the glass tabletop and wiping gently, careful not to disturb anything. But that morning, his hands were trembling. His mind wasn't there. He kept thinking about his daughter, Lily. She was 7 years old, bright, sweet, and far too mature for her age. She'd been born with a congenital heart condition, and the doctors said she needed another surgery soon. Daniel had already sold his car, taken loans, and picked up every extra shift he could find. But it still wasn't enough. He sighed deeply and reached for the mug to clean under it, but his sleeve caught the edge. Before he could react, the cup tipped over, spilling dark coffee and water across the desk. The liquid splashed dangerously close to the laptop. No, 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 Daniel muttered, panic flooding his chest. He grabbed paper towels and tried to blot the water, but his trembling hands only made things worse. A thin stream of coffee trickled into the keyboard. The laptop flickered, and went black. His heart dropped. "Oh God," he whispered. "Please, no." He knew what this meant. That laptop probably contained company data worth more than his entire life savings. He imagined the scene. Security escorting him out, his supervisor shaking his head, Victoria's cold stare. As he stood there frozen, the office door suddenly opened. Victoria Hartwell stepped in, her heels clicking sharply on the floor. She wore a navy suit that screamed authority, her dark hair tied neatly into a bun. Her expression was unreadable, but her eyes immediately went to the desk. "What happened here?" she demanded, her voice calm but cutting. Daniel spun around, stammering. I'm so sorry, ma'am. I was cleaning and accidentally. I didn't mean to." Her gaze shifted to the dead laptop. "Is that my computer?" He nodded, shame burning his face. "Yes, ma'am. I'll pay for it, I promise. I'll find a way." Her brows arched slightly. "You'll pay for it? Do you even know how much that machine costs?" He swallowed hard but didn't speak. He knew the answer didn't matter. Nothing he could say would change the fact that he was a janitor who'd just destroyed his boss's laptop. She sighed, sharply and picked up the laptop, setting it aside. "You should have been more careful." "I know, ma'am. I truly am sorry." Victoria looked at him for a moment, really looked. His uniform was damp, his eyes red from exhaustion, and his hands shook slightly as he held the paper towels. There was no arrogance in his tone, no excuse. Just genuine remorse. "Wait outside," she said finally. "I'll see if it still works." He nodded quickly and stepped out of the office, standing by the wall, head bowed. He could hear faint clicks as she tried to turn the laptop back on. Then silence. After what felt like an eternity, her voice came again, this time softer, uncertain. "Mr. Daniels, come in here." He hesitated before stepping inside, bracing himself for the worst. Victoria was staring at the laptop screen. The device had come back to life, but the desktop wasn't what she expected. It wasn't spreadsheets or presentations, it was a photo. A photo of a little girl. She was sitting in a hospital bed, smiling weakly at the camera, clutching a teddy bear with one hand and holding a paper heart in the other. On the heart, written in colorful crayon, were the words, "I love you, Daddy." Victoria blinked. "Who is this?" she asked quietly. Daniel froze. That's my daughter, Lily." Something in her tone made him nervous. I used the laptop just once, ma'am. I had to print a document last week, and my daughter wanted to see me while I was on break. I set her picture as the wallpaper. I'm sorry if that was inappropriate." Victoria didn't answer right away. She was still looking at the photo. Her expression, usually sharp and composed, softened in a way that startled him. "She's beautiful," she murmured. "Thank you," Daniel said, his voice breaking slightly. "She's everything to me." Victoria closed the laptop gently and looked at him again. "She's in the hospital," he nodded. "Yes, ma'am. She was born with a heart condition. She's had 2 surgeries already. The doctors say she'll need another one soon." He didn't finish the sentence. Victoria studied him quietly. "And you're working here at night, doing cleaning?" "Yes, ma'am. I also work at a grocery store during the day. It's hard, but she's worth it." The office was silent except for the faint hum of the city outside. Victoria slowly walked to the window, her back turned. "You know, most people in this building wouldn't last a week doing what you do," she said. "They complain if the coffee machine is broken. You're here working 2 jobs, and you're apologizing for an accident." Daniel didn't know what to say. He just stood there, feeling both humbled and terrified. Finally, she turned back to him. "The laptop can be replaced. But your daughter, she can't." He looked up, startled. She sat down and took out her phone. "What hospital is she in?" He hesitated. "City Children's Hospital, ma'am. Room 412. Victoria nodded, typing something. "I'm making a call." He watched, confused and anxious. After a few moments, she ended the call and looked at him again. "You'll take the rest of the week off. Go be with your daughter." His eyes widened. "Ma'am, I can't. I need the shifts. I can't afford." She raised a hand to stop him. "You'll be paid in full." "That's not a suggestion." He was speechless. I don't know how to thank you." Victoria smiled faintly, a rare and almost human smile. "You already have." That photo reminded me of something I'd forgotten. She looked toward the skyline again. "My father built this company, and I took over after he passed. I thought the only way to honor him was to work harder, be tougher, never let emotions get in the way. But somewhere along the line, I stopped seeing the people behind the work. That picture of your daughter, it reminded me of when I used to visit my dad in his office. He was never too busy to smile at me." Daniel's throat tightened. He wasn't sure what to say. After a pause, she stood and extended her hand. "Take care of her, Daniel. And bring her by the office someday. I'd like to meet her." He shook her hand, still dazed. "I will, ma'am. Thank you. Really, thank you." As he left the office, his steps felt lighter. The guilt that had crushed him moments ago was gone, replaced by an overwhelming sense of relief and gratitude. Outside the building, the morning sun had risen higher, bathing the streets in gold. He looked up at the sky, exhaled, and smiled for the first time in days. Later that afternoon, when he arrived at the hospital, Lily looked up from her bed with sleepy eyes and smiled. "Daddy, you look happy." He brushed her hair gently. "I am, sweetheart. Some good people still exist." What he didn't know was that a few hours later, a quiet email went out from Victoria's office to the finance department. It read, "Greater than, approve full medical expense coverage for the child of employee Daniel Carter. Effective immediately." And when Daniel returned to work a week later, a small envelope was waiting on his cleaning cart. Inside was a handwritten note from Victoria. "Greater than, thank you for reminding me what truly matters." And beneath it, a photo of Lily, smiling, framed in silver.